Hello everyone, Mike here from OGRE FOOT MTG, and today I'm going to talk about my Rakdos burn deck. I know somebody's probably already built decks similar to this, and that's fine. This is just what I came up with, you know, just putting cards in and out. I wanted to kind of focus around Sword Point, Diplomacy, and Risk Factor because those are really good cards. And Sword Point Diplomacy is way underrated in my opinion, but we'll get to that soon. This deck is probably going to fall prey to the Teferi decks. I doubt that it'd be able to survive a straight up counterspell deck because I mean I just think the counterspells are they're very strong, so they can pick and choose what they want. So counterspell decks probably gonna beat this one up, but anyway, probably not gonna win a tournament anytime soon, but you know, it's fun to play with. So anyway, it's also a good start going into the next set in Standard, which will have Rakdos cards and the Shocklands, the Rakdos Shocklands. So that'll be good to make this deck a little bit stronger, but it's a good head start. So anyway, let's get into it. So I did have some success at the bronze level playing Constructed. And I played 25 games straight, and I had 18 wins, 7 losses. Mana impacted 4 of those games. In 2 of those games, I was flooded and lost, and in the other 2 games, my opponent was mana screwed and they lost. So it broke even. Act of Treason was the final blow 5 times out of the 25 games, which was really cool. But the strength of this deck, I believe, is it's really pretty quick. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of games take a long time. It's either, you know, I beat them up pretty fast, or you know, they conceded pretty quick. So the games are pretty fast. You do have a lot of control, being, you know, red direct damage, so that's always good. And it's easy to adjust to most situations because you can either start picking off the you know, the creatures they have on the board, you know, just to stall till you can, you know, try to get some of your stuff going, till you can start getting some of the Sword Point Diplomacies or Risk Factors going, even if you don't get them right away. And you know, and also if you need to, you can just turn and go straight to the face and just hurry up and try to knock them out. Some of the weaknesses that I've seen so far is if you don't stay ahead of lifelink decks, yeah, you'll run out of steam pretty quick. And also discard decks. I lost to 2 Dimir discard decks fairly significantly. I mean, it wasn't even close. They were just taking out the important pieces, and basically I was just stuck with a little bit of land and, you know, just a couple little cards to do some damage. So it really beat me up too. But you can also stay ahead of those because you do run duress in here. So anyway, let's get into the deck list so we can talk a little bit more about that. So I'm running 4 duress. If you get these early, they're great to get rid of like counter spells and anything that's going to make you discard or anything like that. Plus, not only that, you get to have a look at their hand and see where they're running. I mean, there is so much good that comes out of duress. So running 4 duress. And I'm running 4 shocks. Obviously, they're great for control. The little turd creatures that come out there, like the little white weenie decks, you really need to stay ahead of those. So it'd be nice to get those early. Plus, you can just use those in face damage. By the way, all of these instants and sorceries combo with Gutter Snipe. So I'm not gonna say that on each one of these, but when I get to Gutter Snipe, I'll let you know. And also, I'm running 4 Sovereign's Bite. It's great because it's a 6-point swing. 3 damage to them, you gain 3 life for 2 mana. Plus, if you have Gutter Snipe out, I mean, it's a 8-point swing. It is ridiculous. That is a really good card. Lightning Strike, obviously you can use it for control or straight to the face. Tormenting Voice. This is a really good card because you can use it to get rid of the unnecessary lands you don't need, or any other card that you just don't need at the time. You can draw 2 cards with it. It's really good. If you were to watch the games, I did use that several times and it came in handy. Viashano Pyromancer, so good. 2 mana, 2 damage to the face, and you get a 2/1 creature. Yeah, I'll take that every time. Plus, you can use it as a chump blocker if needed, or if they don't have any blockers, it's just even more damage. Now, Sword Point Diplomacy is so good. It's 3 mana. I get it, it's a sorcery, but still, 3 mana. And you draw 3 cards without penalty, or your opponent loses 3 life per card. How is this not an amazing card and worth $10? I have no idea. This card is so good. I have dealt 9 damage to opponents with 3 mana several times using this card. And heck, I mean, listen to the different scenarios. If it doesn't get countered, 9 damage, or 6 damage, you draw 1 card, or 3 damage, you draw 2 cards, or you draw 3 cards. That is better than any blue draw card probably out there. I mean, holy crap, this card is so good. I'm only running 3 of them because I can't sacrifice all of the other things that are needed in here. And as you can see, I'm down. When we get to risk factor, I'm running 2 of those. But this card is so good, especially late game. Active Treason, I'm only running 1 of those, but like I said before, it won 5 games by itself. Just wait till they drop that big bomb creature and then they attack with everything else and think that they have a blocker. No, you borrow their creature and then hit him in the face with it. It's so good. Fiery Cannonade, I'm running this because there aren't a ton of pirate decks out there. And it's an instant board wipe for all the little turd weenie decks that are out there. You know, the vampire decks or the cat decks or the goblins. I've killed them all with this card. It is so good. Plus, it's instant speed. You can let them cast whatever they want. Right when they're ready to hit their creature with it, boom, you just clear the board. So good. Running 2 of those. And Gutter Snipe, obviously, is key to this deck. If you can keep a Gutter Snipe out there and then just start playing all of these instants, your opponent is just, it gets destroyed very quickly. So they have to deal with Gutter Snipe instantly when you put it out. And like I said, I'm running 2 Risk Factor. I mean, this is great because it's 4 damage if they don't give you the 3 cards, which is also fantastic. So either way, it's really good. Plus, it's instant speed. You can do it at the end of your turn, and it's got Jumpstart. All of this amazing stuff. You can. I always save an extra land or 2. I only usually run about 5-ish lands, and then I start holding them until I get until I start getting more than I really need. Then I'll start playing a couple more. But I usually kick out lands to Risk Factor and to Tormenting Voice as much as I can. I'm running 2 Wizard's Lightning because this is obviously 3 damage to anything. And with the Pyromancer out there, since he's a wizard, this would cost 1, turns into a lightning bolt. And there's been a couple times where it's turned into a lightning bolt, and I've been thankful that it's only cost 1 because I was able to just, launch like 3 instants and win the game with it. I'm running 1 Arclight Phoenix, and I'm only running 1 because it costs 4, and I don't want to really try to stall until I can get 2 or 3 of these out. Plus, I have nothing to put them into the graveyard, so it only goes into the graveyard either if it's countered or if I drop it to like Tormenting Voice or Risk Factor, something like that. So I'm only running 1. You only really need 1 because the rest of them you can just keep drawing cards and keep throwing stuff at their face, and that's how I won most of the games. So basically, I'm only running 21 lands. I'm sorry, let me go through the lands real quick. I'm running 21 lands. I'm running 8 Swamp, 8 Mountains, 4 Dragon Skull Summit, and 1 Cinder Barrens. So the reason I'm only running 21 lands is because I don't really want to have a whole handful of lands, and I seem to always hit big patches of mana during the game, and I really hate that. So I have a couple of cards, Risk Factor obviously, and Tormenting Voice, like I've said before, to try to get rid of the extra lands that aren't needed. And believe me, those are key late game. When your opponent's drawing land because they put 24 27 lands in their deck, and you keep shooting them in the face. I mean, there's been a couple of games that come down to the very end, and it's just like, oh look, I keep top decking direct damage, great, I win. So it's really important to not have that many lands. That's why I only put 21 in there. Now the risk is you could get mana screwed pretty quickly if you if you don't open, like if you open your hand with 1 mana or something, you better mulligan, because you're not going to draw that many lands. Hopefully that's the plan anyway. I know that there was a couple of games where I only had 3 mana and it went all the way through and I just destroyed them with only 3 mana. It worked out really well. So you don't need that much mana in this deck, but it's always nice to have about 5. And then you just kick the rest out and try to use them as discard fodder. So let me know what you think of this deck. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing it, and actually I did play in Nox tournament, and I won all of my gold back doing that. And I played in another constructed tournament, and I won my gold back doing that. I didn't get the maximum wins in either of those, but I did do, I did well. I got free cards out of it basically. So especially with the cascade effect on this deck, that was actually really fun. I got to play a burn spell or get a free, I don't know, whatever, a free pyromancer that would come out and then, reduce the cost of my Wizard's Lightning that I had in my hand. I mean, just things like that happened. It was actually a lot of fun. So anyway, let me know what you think of this deck. Try it out for yourself and see how it goes. Like I said, it's a good starter deck for what's to come in the next set, because Rakdos will be is one of the guilds in that next set. So we're going to be getting some good cards for this deck. So anyway, let me know what you think. Talk to you guys later.